And we are live. What is going on, legend? But welcome back to Beyond the 90. We've got Alex with us, and we've got Joaquin again, all the way from Bolivia, who's going to give us a lowdown on some of this results. But first of all, Joaquin, since you're a guest, welcome to Beyond the 90 once again. What is your initial thoughts of the game?
Okay, hi Neil. It's great to stay here again. I think that it's a great match that I was so I could say that I wasn't optimistic with the squad, but it's great. It's a great notice to have a lot of young talent that it's in a squad and they are having their opportunities. And I think that it's a great notice for all the team. And we are in the FA Cup, and we could fight for our title again. And this is great.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. I think it's been a good performance, Alex. Overall, what are your initial thoughts? Because again, I thought they were, considering all the team that they put out, which again was a strong team, but the amount of weak players that were in that team and people that are playing different positions, it was a good performance.
You know what? It really was a good performance because we didn't know what we were going to expect with this lineup because, with the news coming out yesterday being like, oh, yeah, by the way, we only have 9 fit players, first team players. I'm thinking, okay, who's going to play? Where are they going to slot and what's going to happen? So the fact that, they bring in this lineup in the starting 11 and you see them and you go, you know what, this could actually be pretty good. And they delivered. Hats off to the guys. Like, they played fantastic. They really took control of the game fast, quick, and they never let go of that.
Yeah, no, definitely right. And again, they've took the momentum from the previous game against Liverpool and played it against this Joaquin, because I know, again, you're a massive fan of the under 23s and under 18s. We'll get started some of the individual performances, and obviously we've got obviously 2 people starting from the under 23s. Vontae Daly-Campbell, which we'll come on to a little bit, but one player that you want to touch on, Brunt, who I think had a great game considering it's his first performance. What did you think?
Okay, about Lewis Brunt, I think that it's the best notice today. It has the best teenager player in the match today. We could remember that he started in the center back and he was doing great. And later, when Hamza Chowdhury was a center back, he could play like a right back, and he has doing great. It's a great notice. As seeing that he could play in the first team, but he needs a loan, I think. And I think that all the fans were expecting to Ben Nelson, but for Lewis Brunt, it's great to have an opportunity because he is 21, and if he wants to play in Leicester, it's now or never. And it's a great notice to have seen in the first team.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there, Alex. Again, because that's his first start in the Premier League, his first start in the first team. He's probably been thrown into this really late on, and he's come in, and I didn't, even in the first half, I didn't really see him put a foot wrong. At times, you notice some players when they really are at their depth. A lot of these players, and Lewis Brunt was one of them, he didn't look out of place at all.
No, honestly, when you look at Brunt and you look at Vestergaard, Brunt looked like he was more of the veteran, and Vestergaard seemed like he was the type of player that had no idea what he was doing. He actually looked like a tree today. So you got to give it hats off to Brunt because I feel like he did a fantastic job. To be brutally honest, I was expecting someone like Ben Nelson to come in. So when I saw Brunt, I was like, I have no idea who this kid is. So doing the quick Google search before the match, being like, okay, well, let's see what happens. And no, hats off to him. Fantastic performance, and you can just see the ability of how versatile he is. And those are the type of players that we really need in our squad, because if you lose a player, in some position, you have a player like him that can just slot in wherever that may require. It's a great piece to have.
Yeah, no, he's a great player to have, and again, hopefully one for the future. But as like I said, these people will need playing again and again. Another player as well, again, didn't have too good a performance, was dragged at half time. Vontae Daly-Campbell, we've seen a lot of him, obviously playing on the right hand side, but because of injuries, he had to switch over to the left. He did some okay stuff, but obviously 2 challenges, Joaquin. He's lucky to stay on the pitch.
Oh yeah, Vontae. We could remember that he has the professional debut against Brighton, and he wasn't impressive. But now today he has done right, but he could be better. And I think that and saying the same with Lewis Brand, that the best option for him is to go in a loan to a championship team, because I think that his cycle in the under 23 squad is ended, and we have Yanti Hughes in the under 23 team, and he's really good. He could play in the Premier League too, but Bontai is a youngest player. He has a lot of talent. He is brilliant in the under 23 team, and but he isn't ready for the big level in England, and he needs a loan. He needs to go and have a professional experience before to be a Leicester player. That I think that all we know that he could be a Leicester player.
Yeah, he could be. And again, I think it just takes a little bit more time. But I think Alex, he's you can see the talent when we've seen him before play, Vontae. However, this match, it didn't really happen. I think some of that, we know he's a little bit hot-headed, and that's what we like about him. We've seen him body players before, which has been great fun. But in this match, I think it did get away from him, and I'm not too surprised that he got dragged at half-time. We can't afford to lose any more players, especially with the massive injuries that we have. I think he needed to go at half-time for his own safety, also because we've got so many games coming up in January.
No, absolutely. I think that was a wise decision by Rodgers there. Hats off to, Daley Campbell, because I really do think that he can be a player that can really develop and be a useful player for the squad. But I definitely agree in the sense that I think he does need to go out on loan to a championship club, because I really do think that he's the type of player that can really, excel there and really get into his own and be able to really establish his own type of playing style. And, I think we've seen it with the likes of like KDH, Barnes. We've seen these players that they're almost there and they need to just go down, go on loan and really like work out their skills and really develop those skills. So when they come back, they're absolutely lethal when they play in the first team. So for me, when I look at Daley Campbell, I really see him as as a possible in the future, but I feel like he needs to figure out and like hone in those skills a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think he will get there. It just takes time. I think Ethan's put in the comments a little bit like Hamza, and I think Hamza had the same issue where he was a little bit too rash and a little bit. So I can see the similarities there. But again, with time, he will be able to come out of that, because obviously we've picked him up from the Arsenal academy. He's a good player. But we'll move into the first match. Obviously, with the formation, it was all over the place. Kind of, I think it was a 4-3-3 out of position, and then like a 3 at the back with Hamza pushing in centre back. Again, we'll get onto Hamza a little bit later. I'm going to talk about him. But for the first goal, Joaquin, again, Vestergaard wins the penalty. We put it away. But from moment one, Leicester City were on the front foot and the mentality, they could have dropped their heads and go, we can't win this game because of the injuries. They went and they were positive from minute one, which is really impressive.
Okay, about the first goal. It's Yannick Vestergaard doing a thing great, and it's a great notice because he usually don't play really well. But it's been great, and I think that the first mentality is really great, and I think that if we shouldn't score the first goal, we have lost the match, and it's been really, really good for the team to have scored the first goal. So I think that it's the anemical factor that is so important for our team, and in a round of playoff is so important.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And we had that first thing. But Alex, again, just come back to that. Obviously, the first minute, from the first kickoff on the ball, we played aggressive football. We played like, right, we know how we want to play. We're not going to sit in and wait for Watford to attack. We're going to go and press the game. And Watford weren't great, we're going to be honest. However, we made sure we put our foot on the game, even with the amount of players we had out.
For sure, I agree with you, because I feel like one thing that we've noticed that we've been watching this season is that even games that we should win and that we should take off, we should just go right at an attack. We tend to lean back and just kind of avoid and just kind of wait it out. And those are the games that we end up either losing or, end up drawing or just pulling out a victory at the last moment. We came into this match ready to fight and ready to play. And it kind of just seemed like we just kept on playing as if we played against Liverpool against a 1-0 victory last game. So, the guys came out to play it right after the first minute, and, for Yuri to really just start off this campaign again, with a penalty was just, it's perfection. And if you ask me, so, when you look at that, it's positives. I don't think anybody expected a 4-1 win with the squad that we had. So, I think you just got to look at that, and, they, right from the start of play, they carried for 90 full minutes.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And what was impressive on the back of that, Joaquin, the ability to go from the back to the front very quickly, especially on that right hand side with Perez in the first half and Albrighton down that side as well as on the other side. Going forward, I think we can transition the ball really well.
Oh, well, yeah, in the first half, Ayose was really good. In the second half, he has done his performance. But I think that the two most important players are James Maddison, obviously, and Yuri Tielemans. They are who have the control of the game, and they make us to be, how could I say that? An aggressive player. We thought have an endless defensive performance, I think, because Yuri Tielemans is so great with the long passes. James Madison is excellent with his progressive across the pitch, and they are the two players that make us to be a dangerous team for the others. And when other players like today, Lewis Brunt could cover a lot of meters in the pitch, and others like Albrighton or Harvey Barnes in the left and the right side from the pitch. It's the key of the play for being a successful team.
Yeah, and I think it's just with time, it's just gonna get there. Again, one player that you mentioned, Joaquin, that I want to come back to, James Maddison, Alex. Today, fantastic. He's been a man on form, and I think Ethan puts it in here. A man is start knocking the door. He's getting there to the point.
Player.
Yeah, but again, he's been fantastic, and if he keeps this up, I mean, Southgate has to look at him.
Well, that's the thing, it's incredible when Madison gets on a hot streak, because when he's on a hot streak, nothing's stopping him. The only thing that really does stop him is, his hip. But that's a different story, and let's hope that his hip stays together this time. But no, Madison has just been absolutely incredible. He can do no wrong, which, like I said, when he's on, he's on. So zero complaints. His goal was really, really nice. And yeah, if I'm Southgate, I don't know if you can actually avoid Madison at this point. I feel like at this rate of the year, he seems like he could be easily a lock if he continues this on.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And Joaquin, obviously coming back to Madison, in my opinion, he took his goal really well. Nice build up from Albrighton, then to Lookman, who did a really nice pass, and Madison finished it off. Really nice, again, transition and passage of play to score the goal.
Oh, I think that it's Brendan great work with our offensive system. And today, Lookman was great, and Lookman has been really impressive in the last matches. And but I think that Lookman is so better in the left wing. James Madison is so is fast. He's not the fastest player in the world, but is so fast, and he has a big ability with the ball. He had a lot of skills. He could advance a lot of meters in the pitch. So he's the perfect player for the type of game that we want to play. And he's really I think that he's the extension from Brendan Rodgers into the pitch. He's brilliant. I don't have other word for describing him. I really love James Madison.
Yeah, and again, especially on form, he's fantastic. Alex, and another player that Joaquin mentioned, Lookman. I mean, he's just been impressing week on week. I think he scored in the last 3 games. He scored against Man City, he scored against Liverpool, and then he scored now in this. Oh, he didn't score, but I think he got 2 assists in the game as well. he's looking fantastic. And we've, again, as like I was saying, on that left-hand side, he's looking great. But the problem is we've got Barnes. We've seemed to figure that out without a recognised striker. But Lookman really impressed today.
Yeah, I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, but I think that we need to sign him permanently. I just feel like he's the type of player that, he's shown what he can do. At this point of the season last year, when we were talking about, it was like we barely saw him. Anytime that he did play, it was lackluster, to say the least. If I'm Leicester City, if I'm Brendan Rodgers and company, I'm looking at making Lookman a permanent player on the squad, because what he's been doing has been great. And I know everyone's going to be like, well, he's not Mahrez, but it's like no one's Mahrez. You have Lookman and Barnes. I think that's a good 1-2 punch. Up the sides, and between who you have up front, I think it's a great deal. And I think whatever I'm not too sure, but if we have like an option to buy with Lookman, which I think we do, it's not that relatively
a couple
expensive.
of games, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to enforce, so that's really a good thing. Another player as well, just coming on to this, obviously we'll go through the team, Hamza Chowdhury. I mean, considering that he's not a centre-back, I'm going to talk about him, but Joaquin, what a performance from Hamza Chowdhury. It's not his normal position. He never plays as a centre-back, but anything that came near him, he made sure to just deal with everything. And I think he had, again, for me, he's one of the players that I've got nominated for man of the match.
Oh, it's really curious because our best center backs this season have been Daniel Amarte, Wilfred Ndidi, and now Hamza Chowdhury, and no one of these are center backs really. And Hamza today has a big game, and it's something that he needs because he isn't a regular starter. But I think that all we know is still having the hype that we had when he was 21 and he was appearing into the senior squad.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, he needs to play and he needs to find and to feel important into the squad. And all the people love Hamza Chowdhury. Who could hate Hamza Chowdhury? No one. He's a great boy and he has talent, but he needs to improve his performance. And today is a great show that he could be a Leicester player and he could be important. I think that all we know that he could be.
Yeah, and I definitely agree there, Alex. I think he was just fantastic today, Hamza, and the way he performed, dealing with everything that came towards him. He's like, no problem. Like he's played there for a while, but bearing in mind that's his first performance. As Waki was saying, the players that we have relied on who've been good defenders, Ndidi and Amarte being two of them. Now we've got a third one in Hamza Chowdhury, and just really great performance. And just that back line, we've known defensively Leicester are not there this season, especially this season. But he came in and just sorted it out so well.
Yeah, I feel like Chowdhury is one of those players where he's just been tossed up and down. And, you had a bunch of the supporters being like, well, he's not doing anything, get rid of him. There's been issues, there's been things that he's done in the past and people are like, well, get rid of him. And, at this point, I'm like, we are so strapped for players, just play him and see what happens. And, performance today, absolutely stellar. The fact that he came in, was able to shift down to center back and just absolutely destroy back there, that's just saying something. And, this is the time for him. We have so many players out. We have players over at AFCON. If there's a time for, Chowdhury to really make a statement and be like, I want to play, I want a spot in this, in this side, now is the time. And if he keeps on delivering performances like he did today, Rodgers is going to have a tough time, saying no.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that position with Ndidi out at AFCON, with Samori being out, but now Samori's coming back into the team going, no, I've got competition. I've got real competition, because you're looking at that spot and you're going, right, Hamza can play that. I think another player, obviously, that we need to mention as well, we've mentioned Chowdhury and Lookman, but Albrighton, I think he deserved the fourth goal, works fantastically defensively and attacking-wise on that right-hand side, Joaquin, but Mark Albrighton did really well today, in my opinion, but just what we expected. We could rely on him to do a decent performance every single game.
Yeah, Mark Albrighton, it's it's really good. All the people know that he's an excellent player, and it's curious how all the time we think that Marco Rayton is enough, but he is so enough for the Premier League. And in other teams, I just think that Burnley want him in the summer. Um, he could be a regular starter for other teams. He's so good. I know that he's 32. I don't remember right now, but uh, he's he's still being fast. He's still being so aggressive and so intense in the pitch, and he's great. He's one of the best left wingers or right wingers. I don't know right now if. Uh, but it's true that he had a lot of how could I say that he he isn't our best option for the being regular starter, but I think that all the time we could trust in Marco Rayton because Marco Rayton never fail.
Yeah.
Is and he all the time have a 7 or 8, sometimes a 9 or 10 points match, and it's a player that every team in the Premier League needs.
Yeah, exactly. And Glenn says, "Evening, hello, Glenn. Hope you're all right." Right off, Marco Bratton, your peril. He's been fantastic. Kind of coming back. Do you think that this is an interesting question? Over to you. Do you think Hamza should fill in as defender until Ndidi and Marty come back? I mean, he's not done anything wrong, and you could argue that, Alex.
Oh, if we don't think a center back, Hamza has to be a center back, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, sorry,
No,
no
Alex.
no, it's
problem.
just fine. No, I definitely agree because at this rate, we don't have many people. And if Hamza's doing his job and he's doing playing the position perfect, or doing it well, why not at this point? Side note, I don't know why we didn't capitalize off this, but man, they should have capitalized off with Captain Kevin today, and they didn't. So disappointing. That would have been great because come on.
Captain Kevin is a great name. That's really good. But yeah, I think there's again coming into the second half, we took some of the other players on. I think we ended with about 4 or 5 players from the under 23s and under 18s. I mean, from the first substitutions that have played, obviously, is Madiba for volunteer David Campbell. How do you think he did, Joaquin? Because again, he's being played out of position, I think, but again, he came in and he did his job, I think, fantastically.
Okay, I really want to talk about Marcel Madiba. He's
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite players on the under 23 squad.
Mm-hmm.
In the recently match, I think that Oli Ewing has been better than Marcel, but today was his debut, his professional debut. Just remember that he was in something Europa League games in the bench, but now all the Leicester fans could have been who could have seen how good he is. He's a box-to-box midfielder, but he's different to Yuri Tielemans, for example. He has do a great job. I don't know if you know, but his full name is Wanya Marcel Loureiro, and he had 2 little brothers into the academy in Leicester. One of these is Cheyenne Loureiro, Che, and he's unique. He's special. He's so talented. It's just I don't remember his age right now, but uh, but he's really impressive, and I think that in the future we could have 2 or 3 brothers into our squad because Juan Marçal is so good and Cheyenne is better. It's better, but he's an offensive player. I just want to talk about Che because the last week I have seen, and I really like to be the first person to talk about Cheyenne Loureiro. But yeah, about Marcel Madiba today was great. I have seen that he is a really strong defensive player, and I think that with he needs 1 year more in the under 23 squad, and then we could know if he could play into the first team or need a loan or other options. But he's doing great, and it's a great notice that he have an opportunity with Brendan.
Yeah, exactly. And Brendan's really good at giving the opportunity to young teams, especially since we go 3 goals up or 4 goals up. We then, as again, when we're 3-0 up, we're 3-1 up, then we bring on another player, Alex, in Kevin McAteer as well, from Casey McAteer, sorry. We've seen him come on against 3-0 against Newcastle. Now we've seen him again. He came on just to see out the game, but he was there, and I think he did play his part in the 4th goal as well. Again, I think he had a really great performance today in McAteer.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. You know, I like the fact that Rogers has been giving these young players the opportunity to play, because I would say most managers might not even do that, and the fact that he's allowing this to he's allowing it is great. And I think with McAteer, I think sure the game was won, but he came on both this game and the game against Newcastle, and he gave 100% effort, and that's what you want to see from these young players. And they're going to get game time, they're going to get experience from this, and just even if they play 15-20 minutes at the end of the game, even though the game is won, it's still going to give them that experience that they can take with them when they go back to playing with the under 23s or the under 19s or whatever. And that's just going to help build them as a player. And so hats off, for the little bit that he did play, he played quite well.
Yeah, I think he did as well. And Joaquin, obviously, you know a bit more about Casey McAteer. Fill us in for us about a bit more about this man, because we've seen some impressive stuff from him.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy for Casey. He's a great guy. I think that Casey remembers me a lot for Marker Brighton. I think that he's a left winger, but he's a left winger different from Harvey Barnes, for example, or in the under 23. There's also Tawanda Yetromas Wanhais. I know that you know it.
Man, one he say, yeah.
And I think that Harvey Barnes or Maswanhise are excellent dribblers, but Casey have a good dribble, but he isn't a dribble. He needs a lot of space. He's so fast. He's really fast, and he needs a lot of space. He needs to have a good direction to the other goal, and I think that he's so strong. He's have a lot of defensive work in their performance. And there's a player that remembers me, and when I have wrote about him, a lot of people say to me that he remembers to Marco Brighton, and I think that could be his replacement in a future. And Casey needs play time right now. He needs to play, but we have other players in the under 23 squad that needs more playtime right now. I just can say that Bonte, or I just remember Stanowat Chengchitawan, the guy from Thailand. They need a loan right now, but Casey have a little bit more time for have a development with the first squad.
Yeah, no, again, but with this opportunity now, with the number of injuries and the January so compact, it allows for these players to break through as well. Alex, another one as well that we brought on, 16-year-old. I was looking at him again today when Alves as well. Again, another good performance. He didn't do anything wrong. Came on for Lookman. Again, Lookman had a great performance we talked about, but we're seeing him 16 years old and he's making his debut for Leicester City in the Cup. I mean, we've got so much attacking talent, and when he came on, what was impressive is the levels didn't drop and the effort remained high.
You know what? Will Alves had one hell of a performance, and the reason why I'm saying that is that he's 16 years old. Tell me what you were doing at 16 years old, because I sure as hell was not playing, in my first Premier League game in the FA Cup. So you can't say anything bad about the kid, because let's be serious here. Anybody at that age would be absolutely losing their mind. So, from what we watched, I didn't see there was no issues whatsoever. And the fact that, you have a 16-year-old coming onto the pitch and, making no errors and just doing what he was supposed to do, that makes me excited, because, if he's doing that at 16, what is he going to do at 18? And what is he going to do at 20? What is he going to do in his 20s? Exciting times.
and we've got the right manager and the right people in place and the right training ground to get the best out of him. Joaquin, again, you're our expert on this. Give me some news about Alves as well. I think, yeah, because today we were looking at him, because he was training. With pictures of him came out training yesterday, and he came into the first team. Obviously, they've got Maddison and McAteer and other players in that position. However, he came on and he did a decent job. So, what else can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I'm the number one Will Alves fan in the world. He's the future, not for only for Leicester. He's the future of the world of soccer. Um, he is so talented. He's brilliant. He is fast. He had a lot of brilliant skills. He had a lot of ability with the balloon, and he's really impressive. Uh, and it's unbelievable that our 16 players has a professional player in a big competition like the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And I could say that was one of the best players in the under 18 squad. That over 18 squad is the best under 18 generation in England, I think. I could say that. And but I think that there's other player that is in his same level and that I want to see in the first team. I think that I'm talking about Chris Popov. I know that a lot of people know his name. Will Alves and Chris Popov are generational, and they are brilliant. Chris Popov have scored a lot of goals from free kicks. I just remember that he had scored a hat trick against Tottenham Hotspur, and he's brilliant. They are brilliant, and they do a really impressive pairing attack. And we also have to Kian Pennant in the under 18 squad, who is a striker that could be a striker or a left wing. And we have also have Jack Butterfield. He's a striker, and these four guys are really impressive. They are the future for Leicester City. I think that Will Alves could be the most similar player that I have ever seen to Harvey Barnes, but he has also his own abilities that makes he different from Harvey, I think. And Chris Popov is was one of the best youngest player in the Manchester United academy before he came to Leicester. Kian Pennant is exciting, and he have a big brother who is in the under 23 squad, who is Terrell Pennant. The Pennant brothers, they could be England stars in the future. They are so good, and Jack Butterfield is a really great player. I think that he's so something. No, I don't say words. He's not good like Will Alves or Kian Pennant or Popov, but he's really good. He could play in a Premier League team in the future, and we have a brilliant future. And I just remember that they players, they aren't under 23 age; they are under 18 age. And in the under 23, there's other players like Ethan Fithiut, for example, that it's other player that have a brilliant future. And I think that I don't remember when before Leicester had some talent in the academy before these times, and we have a lot of talent, brilliant talent in our squads. And Will Alves is one of the most exciting players that we have.
Yeah, that's great to hear. No, thanks for that. Again, there's a lot of information there to digest, but I think we'll move it back a little bit about to the match again. Another player that we've not seen start for a while, Danny Ward. I've got to give him a shout out because I think he did fantastically. I think there was one or two times where he came for the ball and the whole crowd didn't know how to react because Kasper Schmeichel never really does that as much. But again, solid performance again is what we expect from Danny Ward, and deserves again. One goal went in, but didn't have a lot to do. But what he did fantastically.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he could have saved that goal anyways. It was just a nice goal. So that's nothing on Ward. And also Vestergaard stood there like a tree. So that's besides the point. Danny Ward. I've always said this. I'm a big fan of Ward. I definitely think that he could be a starting starting keeper for a good amount of Premier League clubs. So the fact that he's just been biding his time on the bench is just. I don't know about you, but I would just be losing my mind. So, he came into this match, he did what he had to do, promising, and, he played as expected,
Yeah.
because he is a first, and like I said, he's a first team keeper on a good amount of, Premier League clubs. So he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And, I am not too concerned about it. I'd like to see more of Ward in cup games and, in Europe, because I think he's good enough to do that.
Yeah, and he's again gives Kasper Michael a break, and he is good enough to get into that squad, as we were saying as well. And finally, I think Joaquin, you were saying just before we started, you want to touch on obviously one man that played his first game in about a year, I think now. James Justin has finally come back to the under-23s, playing in the back three. Wasn't the best, but it's good to see him back, isn't it?
Oh yes, it's a great notice. It makes me really happy that James Justin is back. But the performance for the team wasn't the better. We have lost against Chelsea, obviously, but 2 goals. But the great notice is James Justin is here. He could play football again.
Mm-hmm.
He is in a great form. I haven't seen the match, but now I prefer that. But James Justin will be a sign for us right now. He could play in the left back or in the right back if it's necessary, and it's great. And I can't wait to see him again with the first team, with Wesley Fofana, obviously. And I think that when we turn back to the first team, we will be a best team in all the ways.
Yeah, I think he plays a massive role in the number of positions he can play, Alex. I think is it's good to just see James Justin back out, because we've been waiting this moment for, God, so many months now.
It's felt like 84 years. Serious here. No, but honestly, Justin is going to be that one type of player that when he's fit and he comes back into the squad, it's going to feel like a new signing. Like that's how much we've missed him. And is he going to be fully fit, when he comes back? No, he's not going to be fully fit because of the type of injury that he had. It's going to take him some time still to recover from that and be back to 100%. Look at Ricardo Pereira, for example. But I think just having him back in the squad is going to be just such a morale booster, for everybody in the squad. Seeing him back and, playing is going to be great. If he comes off the bench, for the remainder of the season, I have no problem with that, because you have someone who's just absolute quality. And if he can come back to the level that he was playing at prior to his injury, what a player that is.
Yeah, no, it'll be again a fantastic player, especially coming in now. We've got to bide our time with him. We would love him to get straight back into the team, but after a leg break and an ACL, it can take time for him to come back into the team. Again, we've not even touched on Harvey Barnes. There's just so many good things, but a lot of positives, Joaquin, to take to the next level. And also, we've got a busy January fixture with everybody that's going to be here, with all the teams that we're going to play. But with this young team, and this team that hopefully will have a few more players back in the next couple of weeks, but no guarantees. What do you think, obviously, coming into the Premier League? Because obviously this was a second string Watford team, but now coming into the first team, which players do you think will start, which are from the academy?
Okay, I think that one of the players that could help us in the Premier League. Oh well, I think in Cassie McCarthy, or I think in Bonte Dalai Campbell. But I will say a player that today he wasn't in the pitch, but we haven't a striker. Patson Daka is out, Jamie Vardy is out, Kelechi Henacho is out, and I will say that Ethan Fitzhugh deserves a chance in the first team. He is a left-footed striker. He could play like a second striker or like an only striker. And he's brilliant. He needs a chance. I just remember that he was in the bench in a match. I don't remember against who, but we need a striker.
Mm-hmm.
Now we could have Hamza Chowdhury and Soyuncu will be back, or Ndidi will be back for the center back, or we could think a center back. I think in Tarkowski and Nat Phillips. I don't know about Nat Phillips, but we need a striker for this month. And Ethan Pickett have the talent for playing the first team. He's so talented, man. And I will say him. Other striker that is good is Jake Wakeling, but Ethan Pickett is younger and most talented. I don't know. I don't will say better.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice, yeah, but to say that again, getting recognition from Glenn. So yeah, well done for your knowledge again. It's going. If you do want to check out more of Joaquin, he's done some amazing threads on his Twitter link. There's a link in the description for that as well. So I'll feel free, Joaquin, to plug away a little bit of your Twitter. You've done threads on a lot of these players that are featured today as well.
Oh, thanks, Neil. I'm doing my best.
Yeah. So again, which players have you? I think you've done Ewig recently as well, which I know that he's actually followed that as well. Who else have you done Twitter threads on? So if anybody does want to read upon your profile, they can go and find them.
Oh, I just wrote about the under 18 pair center backs that are Harvey Gottsmarford, who is really good, and Ben Rees who is our only left foot center back.
Mm-hmm.
I have wrote about Bonte Daley Campbell before. Recently, I have wrote about Oli Ewing, who also deserves an opportunity with Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that I have wrote about Swenky Tawon. He have won a title with Silent. I don't know what kind of title have we won, but he won. Also I have wrote about Callum Wright, who is in Cheltenham, and today he have scored a goal. It's a great notice. I have scored about Yorkshire's, and my favorite of all is Sammy Braybrook.
He didn't get to feature today, but he was on the bench. But
we couldn't have the opportunity to enjoy him.
Maybe later. Again, that's fine. So again, if you want some more information about that, link in the description. Alex, before we finish, any other thoughts as well?
Not much, great performance. I'm excited to see what we're going to do all of January. It's going to be a crazy month. So I'm looking for the next match. Looking forward to the next match on Tuesday. We got a couple days off to rest. So hopefully we didn't pick up any injuries, and, we have a relatively fit squad to tackle the next game.
As fit as it can be, which is not saying much at the moment.
Yeah,
and I'm going to leave everybody with this video. With this, Brendan Rodgers has praised Hamza Chowdhury, said the Leicester Mascherano. I'm going to have to leave him on that. So thank you everybody for watching. Again, make sure you go and follow Joaquin's link in the description for his Twitter as well. Apart from that, everybody, we'll see you for the Everton post match. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see everybody in the next